Welcome to the Facebook Singapore studios for episode 3 of Off the Bar, the show that gives a voice to you, the fans of Singapore football. And today we're very excited to have Singapore assistant coach Nazri Nasir and FAS technical director Joe Palatsides. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Before we get into the first question, just want to say to the fans as well, get your questions in live and we'll try to take as many questions as we can for this program. Off the bar, of course, a question, or a show rather, to find out the hard-hitting questions of Singapore football. And Joe, we're going to start with you. The hardest question of all, what exactly does a technical director do?
Technical director has a lot of roles and responsibilities, and it's quite complex in a sense. However, in my role here at the FAS, the range starts from coach education, women's football, grassroots football, youth development, national team, youth teams, so the Young Lions. So there's a whole range of areas that I'm responsible for. But there's also probably areas that I just try to focus on at any given time. So for now, it's about the tournaments that are coming up. So we've just had the AFF tournaments, now the AFC tournaments are starting. And of course, Nazri's also been a part of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers. So it's an exciting time. It's only been 4 months into my tenure, but it's been an exciting 4 months and a very eye-opening 4 months.
And Nazri, what has it been like having Joe around?
First and foremost, I think when Joe came to Singapore and when become the technical director, basically he approached some of the ex-national players, for myself, Fandi, Alam Shah and Subramani. Basically our job is just to share with him what Singapore football is about the culture here, about the challenges that you're going to face. But I think so far, the last 4 months, I can see that he's so busy with meeting and meeting new things and meeting new people, and just to help and to improve Singapore football. And we can see for the next couple of months and hopefully the next year, we can see the changes in Singapore football.
And Joe, you said been very busy so far. Going to get busy as well this week. The under-16 AFC boys play at Jalan Besar, North Korea, Hong Kong and Guam.
Yeah.
How important is it for kids to be exposed to other Asian teams at this level of like under-16 or even under-15 and 14?
Yeah, international competition's crucial to their development, and we think that there's a lot of areas to improve a footballer. One of it is this exposure that they're going to get. Players don't really realise, and young players in particular don't really realise what might be good enough in Singapore might not be good enough outside of Singapore. So the challenges they face by playing against better players and better teams, probably they didn't realise much of that until they went to the AFF, and then it was a bit of an eye-opener for those young kids as well, where it was completely different. So they were used to playing a COE, maybe 15s competition, and they saw the standard was much higher at the AFF, and it was good also because that showed everyone that we have some areas to work on. And Coach Philippe at the moment is working with those boys, and we're hoping that the AFC, which starts tomorrow, will have a much better showing and a performance we can be proud of. And
Nazri, you've also coached at youth level, I think.
Yep.
Under 15s, you took Lion City Cup.
Yeah.
And Lion City Cup, especially you play against international teams.
Correct.
Is it tough to motivate the boys or keep them motivated to play against these guys? And do you think we can hang with these boys at that level?
I think first and foremost, we as a coach, we try to give as much, help in the way that, in terms of in the coaching. How much can we help them to, to understand about the international, especially when you're playing in the international level, it's totally different from local. First and foremost, as a player before, I always share the experience of, you're going to play, the speed be faster, the players be bigger, sometimes you have no time to think, this kind of thing. You have to react everything very fast. So, what we can do is just have to alert them earlier and prepare them earlier mentally, and this is what you're going to expect, and certain games, you expect challenges, this kind of thing, and you have to take it as a man. So as a coach, you just keep on encouraging and give the positive words and keep on fighting, and at the end of the day, you can see that the players, when they go to the field, they give the 100%. Result, of course, is very important, but then the commitment we have to see. That's very important. So with that, we show that the players when they manage to overcome this thing, you can see that they have stepped up themselves, and hopefully they can go up to the next level.
And you talk about maybe not just the results, but wanting to see the commitment as well.
Yep.
What do you think is a good result from this under-16s this week? Because we're playing some tough teams, right? North Korea, Hong Kong are tough teams. So what do you guys think maybe is a result that is achievable for us?
I think that I look firstly at the football performance, but we can't underestimate how important winning is as well. So if we were going to develop a football, yes, we want them to play well, but they have to understand what it takes to win as well. And sometimes you might play badly, but you can still try and win a game. So that commitment that Nazri's talking about now, that's part of their development. So if we look at this week's games, if we could get 6-7 points, I think would be a fantastic result. And I think that's what we have to aim for. And that might even be enough to qualify for the next round. So you always have to set the bar very high, and you try and achieve that limit.
And then Nazri, you would have had experience against maybe the North Koreans or the East Asians and the Hong Kong players. What kind of football do they play, and what's the difference between us and them?
I think, when I took the youth teams, I remember we went to Hong Kong for every year there's this tournament. Okay, we're going to expect the players, the toughness, the challenges. So this is where I think the players need to be aware about this situation. It won't be an easy, especially when you're playing, like international, like talking about North Korea. Physically they are just much bigger than us. So all that, as a player, we need to advise them and make sure that they're prepared for all these things. In terms of football, I can't see much on tactical part. In terms of some players, some teams will play from the back and try to build up from the back. That's something very direct. So when you as a coach, when you see that kind of situation, that's how you have to react quickly. And as much as you can, you give the information to the players that this is going to expect, or even before that, or you watch a video talking about how the team play, this kind of thing. So you prepare that this is going to happen. So as a coach, I think it's very important to prepare them and make sure that they prepared in whatever occasion will happen during the game.
And talk about these under-16s coming up this week. Part of a very busy calendar. We just finished our World Cup qualifiers, got great results. And Nazri, you are part of that squad. Yeah. What was that like? Especially maybe because Yemen and Palestine ranked higher than us, and maybe people didn't really give us a chance for those games?
I think, it's always been a case where, when I took the team during the Amarin match, where we play against Malaysia, of course, we are the same ranking. When in the final we play against Oman, nobody expect us to win. But again, as I said, for as a coach, when you play this kind of thing, you always tell yourself there's nothing to lose. You show good performance. You show that you want to play football. So that's how it is. Fans, as they say, whatever you want to say about things. What fans want to see is how we play. Good football. They want to enjoy. They want to come to the field. They want to come to watch the game, to watch entertaining, playing from the back, build up, try to make good passes, kind of thing. I think with the first game against Yemen, what we did is, we play from the back, we're not playing too direct, high ball, and we create chances, and we don't win the game, but I think it's a positive result. Of course, going towards Palestine game, again, I think the fans coming and playing in Jalan Besar Stadium, where I can see that we are motivated. It's all about belief. You have to believe yourself. You have to believe that you can get the result. So when you have that in you, that that's very important. And then when you go to the field, you really have that belief that you can overcome anything. So let them worry about us rather than we worry about them. Of course, in terms of preparation, we have to know that what's their strength and what their weaknesses. That's very important. Then how we want to overcome it, and then that's where we can see during the match against Palestine, we try to stop whichever the way they play, and we try to, when we are attacking, we try to do our ways and to stretch their defense. I think. So I think the two games very positive. I think the fan look like people around meet, seeing me, and they enjoy, and they say that this is totally different football for the past few years, and hopefully this momentum continue until of course people won't give us a chance that we were going to qualify. I mean we have to be realistic. We have to face that this is going to happen. But then I think we just take one game at a time. Saudi is not an easy game, so we will take at one at a time, and whatever result is, we still got other games. We still got another 4 more or 3 more games we play home and away. So let us see, So we just keep on going and just believe. That's what I can say.
Actually, Nazri, you say like the fans coming to you now being a bit more positive. I think after these results, we've probably seen the most positivity like to local football for quite a long time. And Joe, do you think you can see Tatsuma's influence on this team already? Like he hasn't been here long, but they've been playing much better football.
I'm not too sure what happened in the past. I've seen some highlights and some packages. One thing's for sure, that it's a tough group that we're in, definitely a tough group. And to be on top of the ladder after 2 games, I think is fantastic. And I've seen a couple of games, and like we all have, and we look at it and we say, okay, so what's Singapore football got to be afraid of? And the truth is we should have won both games, and we deserved it. We played much better. So Tatsuma's influence has been quite big, and he deserves congratulations, as does Nazri and all the coaching staff, because they've done a fantastic job. And you can see the buy-in from the players as well. They want this style of play. And I think that if you believe, like Nazri said, if you believe in what you're capable of doing, you're not that afraid. And of course, football's always funny. You can win games, you can lose games. But if you believe in what you want to do and you're committed to it, you're always going to give yourself a chance of performing well and getting a result. So, so far the national team's done a fantastic job. And I think that we go into next game with a different belief than maybe if we didn't play this well and didn't get the results we achieved. So at the moment, Nazri's right. Saudi Arabia is going to be a tough game, and so is Uzbekistan. But we keep playing the way we're playing, and they're going to be worrying a bit about Singapore, and I think that's a good thing that other people worry about Singapore.
And Nazri, I mean, you're obviously involved a lot more with the team. The thing is, I mean, we have good players though. Haris is a good player. Shadan the ball is a football player. Faris is a technically very adept player as well. Do you think Tatsuma has helped mold these guys as well? Maybe you can give us a bit insight into in training and stuff, how he has gotten them playing a bit better?
I think something I think is very important that you can see that being Japanese coach or Tatsuma or stuff, you look at very technical players. You need technical players who are good with the ball, especially when coming from the back. Who can control the ball, can make good passes, who can good build up. So that is the playing style. That's the concept that he want to play. Okay, of course, why he put these players, why he put the midfield with Shadan and Aris Harun, because everybody, two of them have different strength, different good, what's their best. So we play to our strength. And okay, for Faris Ramli, you can see he's good with the ball, so what he need him is to get the ball, get in the box, and try to create as many chances or to get fall. So, and you can see, and beside that, like Iksan, he got the strength, got the experience playing in Norway and playing with the bigger boys. So football has changed. So what you can do is we need to get all these players together, play to your strength, do your job what you're best at. That's it. Very simple. For me, it's also even my philosophy of telling to the players that okay, your strength is winning the ball. Your strength is getting challenges. So that's your strength. Just do your job, and then let the others do what they are good at. Play the ball to the midfield. If Aris with the ball, and you just support, and everybody have their part. So that is where I think is a key that how we want our football to be.
Do you think another good thing for this was to start at home? We had 2 home games, and Joe, you got to experience a full Jalan Besar stadium. What was that like? Do you think like this is a Singapore stadium filled, something we haven't seen in a while? Nazri? Did that impress you? Or were
It did, and I think that there was a vast difference between the game at the National Stadium, and you always want to play games at the National Stadium, but the atmosphere at Jalan Besar was fantastic, and I think the Palestine players felt it, and I think that gives you a bit of an advantage, and I think that's a good thing. Look, I just think that Nazri's right again, that once you win and you play well, you expect now the supporters to say, you know what, this is a brand of football that we like, we're going to go support the national team, and maybe we can fill out the National Stadium, really make an atmosphere worth remembering, you know, because we're going to go away now, and we're going to play a couple of games, or we're going to play one away game, but if we come back with a result, then, you know, we need the support of the crowd, and hopefully they'll come and support the national team, and we can go forward from there.
And Nazri, you have played in a full national stadium. What is that like?
I mean, as a player, you know, when your job is, you know, it's like you are going for a show. You at the stage, you know, you want to show what you can perform. So when you play with a 50,000 crowd, 60,000 crowd, that's how the feeling is. You know that, you know, these people to see you something, to see you to do something. So of course, it's always a great feeling. I think these players need to have that feeling, you know, that kind of feeling that, hey, there's a fan behind us, and, you know, that's all about football, you know. You need to entertain, you need crowd. So the players must look at it like, you know, hey, I want to have the chance to play against, I mean, with 50,000 crowd, this kind of thing. I think they have to look at it like, you know, how important is the result is. You know, to get a good result, good football, and with that thing, basically, will bring more crowd supporting our team.
And that's with the national team. Obviously, many other things going on as well. The SPL has just been decided as of yesterday. Hougang drew 4-4 with Geylang. What a crazy game that one was. But DPMM now officially crowned champions. Nazri and Joe, do you think they're worthy winners, first of all?
I think Nazri will have a better take because he's seen a lot more games than what I have. I've been spreading myself out throughout all age groups into the SPL, but they've definitely been the most consistent team of the league, and that usually means that they do deserve the win to win the championship. There have been some close games and some exciting games, like yesterday's game. We're just talking off air with Nazri about the game yesterday, 4-4, so an exciting game. But I think Brunei's been the most consistent team of the league, and so they probably do deserve it. But it's good to see that it's a close competition as well at the top there.
Yeah, Nazri, this is the first year we've had a 4-team title race in a long time. Surely that's exciting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, like what Joe mentioned, I think Brunei has been consistent throughout this season, you know. They've been, of course, they have some tough games, this kind of thing, but they're still there. You know, they don't see so much their performance drop at all, you know. Whereas the other teams, like I do watch Hougang, started the season, they were quite a bit, you know, a bit scrappy, this kind of thing, you know, in terms of their performance. Then slowly they being up, you know. I think the coaches get the right players, the right gel of players to play according to his so-called tactic, you know, or plan, this kind of thing. So of course, teams like Tampines again also, they have around good players, good foreigners, but again inconsistent. They can attack, they can score 4-5 goals, and they also can let go about 3-4 goals. So that's also is very important in football. You need to defend and you need to attack. You know, you need to score and you still need to defend. Whereas like other teams like Warriors, of course, the teams like Geylang, they're teams that who you know, who can be the spoiler. You know, like, you know, winning against Tampines or drew against Tampines, or even to Hougang, or even Young Lion. So I can say that, you know, they also been up and down. Not easy for Young Lion players. You know. Most of it, they are national, they are students. It's tough for them, yeah. But then I think they shows that, you know, throughout the season, you know, they've been there. Of course, they don't have any stars in the team, whatever. But with the young players they have, they work very hard. And as I say, like, I mean, for me, against coming back to Brunei, I think they're the most consistent in the league, you know. And now this league over, we will go back to the Singapore Cup, and hopefully it will be a different things. You can see some surprises in the Singapore Cup.
And Joe, maybe who are some of the players that have impressed you in the SPL this year?
I think the main ones are the national team players, and I think they've, they in the SPL. I think the really good players stand out. So whether it was Faris or Gabriel or whoever might have been during the season, I think that they've always shown their class in this SPL league. So, and again, we look at the SPL league and again what Nazri's been talking about, but the young Lions have actually contributed to the national team as well. So even though it seems that they're down near the bottom of the ladder, Fundi and his staff's done a fantastic job in getting these boys ready to play national team football. And I think that's an amazing feat that people overlook. They might look at the young Lions and say, oh, they're down the bottom, but they've actually, how many did we have, Nazri, in the national team against Palestine? Some of the young boys.
We got Hami, we got Mamat,
yeah.
We got Zafran, of course he didn't play, but at least about 4 players.
So all those boys coming through the young Lions are actually contributing to our national team as well. So I look at it as a whole and to see all the boys coming through. And
correct.
Tatsuma and Nazri have selected players who weren't even in the national team squad previously. And I think that's fantastic that everyone's starting from a base level and everyone's got an opportunity to play for the national team, and Tatsuma and Nazri and the staff have given them opportunities. And I think every footballer in SPL can look forward to say, well, you know what, we're a chance to play. If we play well enough, we're a chance to play for our national team. Now, it's a great attribute to have, so well done to the coaches for that. And we're growing as we're going along. We're getting better, so that's the main thing.
Yeah, I mean, again, I said, I mean, like when Tatsuma came here, I just told him that, you take a look at all the players, Sometimes it's good to give new players, new blood players, new fresh players, when they are given a chance that, hey, the coach is watching at me and, they are motivated, to play in the national team. So that's very important. So as I said, you can see when we call up for the last 2 games, new faces, even was absent for national team for the last 2-3 years, and they come back. Then you have 2 players who get first national cap, Hami and Faris Farhan. So this is very positive. So you can see, October will be another. You can now the players who are in the national team for September, they want to keep their position, whether they are not in the first 11 or even in the squad, they will fight to get them. So we won't stop from there. So we'll be watching other players, or even the injury players who came back from injuries. We are also watching them, how they perform. We won't stop looking at players who are really contribute for the national team. So we won't do that. We just keep on looking and hope that they know that we are not leaving them alone or not looking at them. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for that, coaches. So a big part of the show, of course, is to get questions from the fans as well, and we've got a bunch of them. Keep sending them, keep putting them in the comments. We'll try to get as many questions as we can. So the first one, Coach, there've been a bunch of questions actually for Joe, set by, this one was from Alia Afiz, I think, on Facebook. He asked about the old blueprint set by the ex-technical director, and he asked if there will be a lot of major changes to that under you.
Okay, Michel
Tough
Sablon.
question.
Yeah, it is. Michel Sablon is he's reshaped Belgium football 10, 15 years ago, and it made it a very big powerhouse in Europe. And I think, you have to acknowledge what he is in world football. He's a very smart man. So there's no need for radical change. It's about building on what Michel put in place. And I've seen some of the things that he's done, and some of them are very good. Some weren't finished to the extent that what he wanted to. But I'll definitely build on what he's put in place. We won't be changing things drastically, but we will be putting things in place that I think will help youth football go forward, because I'm very concerned about the next wave of young players, and that's an area that I'm going to be very passionate in, and an area that I want to make sure that I get right, because I want the next wave of footballers through Singapore to be better than this current crop.
I think that's actually a perfect segue into the next question from Uzairi Ai of Facebook as well. He asked, what do you think of the current footballing system and cultures in Singapore, and what could be done to help improve it?
Okay, the culture of Singapore football, and Nazri touched on it at the beginning, and when I first did come into Singapore and I spoke to Nazri, and I spoke to Fundy, and I spoke to everyone involved in football in Singapore, they did tell me that there will be some obstacles along the way, and there's no point trying to just sort of push it aside. We have to deal with it in the best way possible. So we have a look at something that Singapore's very proud of, and that's the education system and how that impacts footballers. And that is a problem where at crucial ages we have exams for these young kids who, some kids unfortunately stop playing at a very critical level and some may not come back into the system. Then there's obviously national service that we have to look at, and then there's all different types of issues that we want to look at in terms of what we do with our coaches and how we make them better to make sure that football goes forward. But all of these areas will be addressed. We'll try to put things in place to make sure that it makes it better. Specifics of it, again, 4 months into the role, we won't go into specifics now, but we are aware of them, and we are trying to change things to make it better, and I plan to do that going forward.
And Coach Nazri, you've coached obviously at every level now in Singapore. Do you have things that you think we can improve in terms of a culture thing in football?
I mean, you can see it now. It's different compared when I was playing. You know, nowadays I think that's what we know. Parents now, they are very concerned about. They want as much. They want the kids to play in football or even sports, but also academically so important. You know, because during my taking the youth team, you know, I have a problem where there's exam where I couldn't, the coach, they can't be released because of the exam kind of thing. So that part really is always been a challenge. But I always talk to my players, you know, what I can do is I just advise them that, you know, don't wait until then rain, then you start looking for the umbrella. Prepare it earlier. So this is all I advise them, you know, prepare early. Just make sure that you do your work right, you do your own work and this kind of thing, and don't tell me tomorrow you got exam, today you want to study. So this is the thing that we need to change, where I think it's very important that the players must know. Again, I don't blame, you know, the parents, you know, that it's important academically. Even I have my kids, so it's very important. But then I think the most important thing is about sacrifice, a lot of commitment, a lot of sacrifices that you need to do. You know, if you really, even I advise to my players, if you want to take up football professionally, you need to work so hard. Yeah. You need to make commitment. You need to sacrifice. You know, you want to be a national player, you have to go all the way. There's no shortcut. There's no way that, you know, you want to go half a year. No. Okay, you want to, you all the way make sure that you work so hard and then you reach to what you are. When you reach a national players, when you are a national players, you have more demand from the club, you know, can offer you a better salary. So that's how it is. So this is always I look at it. Yeah, of course, coming back to you, it's been until today, so we know we are all facing this problem. But then I think what we can do is, you know, it's just how it's about communication. It's about just giving and take, and about understanding each other. I think that's the most important thing about communicating, talking to the players or talking to the teachers. A lot of this interaction is something to know your players and to know these students and how can we work together, as, you know, for the best of the kid.
Yeah, and I think just on what Nazri said, there's no reason why there can't be a balance between football and education, and I'm sure that if everyone's organised in such a way that, you know, I think football will help education as well. I don't think someone can sit in a room and study for the whole period of time. They need to get out there and express themselves on the football field and go back and study. But I'd like to think that we're intelligent enough to also know that football fits into a lifestyle where education plays a major role. So, and I think Nazri touched on about the commitment and work ethic that we have to really try and instill into our footballers as well. So little things like that I think can get better going forward.
And another very interesting question that maybe ties into this in terms of development. GIFC Boleh asked, any plans for a professional futsal league?
Futsal is an area that we've we want to instill into our football landscape. This year we, again for the second year now, we had a futsal competition, schools futsal competition, under 10, under 14 boys and girls, and it was very, very successful. And I think that futsal is going to help increase our technical ability, and it's a part of a learning curve for young footballers in Singapore that we really need. So we do have to put it in place. I think that we will, and it's going to start at the base, but we need to have a professional league going forward because we're being invited to international tournaments and we haven't got a professional football futsal league. So that is an area that we will look at again. We've started plans for that. How long it takes, I can't give you a timeline on that either, but it will be put in place slowly, and we want to make sure that futsal is a big part of our growing development as a footballing nation.
Yeah, we've got questions coming thick and fast now. To Nazri, this is from Muhammad Syed bin Arif. Nazri, you've been assistant to a few national coaches. You're a national coach yourself for a Marine Cup. How different is Tatsuma's style compared to other coaches you've seen?
Yeah, coming back to the thing that I mentioned earlier, as you know, technical Japanese coaches or Japanese players, you can see they are very technical players. His style of playing is he like to see players very comfortable with the ball. So when we do the selection of the players, you can see most of it, they are technically very good. So we have our concept in a way that how we're going to play. If you look at it, the way where we plan our training, or where he planned his training, or he planned the strategy that we're going to play, basically we most of it we want to get everybody involved. We're starting from the back. If we play three at the back, we make sure all the three players getting enough touches of the ball, and getting to the point that he wanted to spread the defense as much as you can. The wing back and the wing back just as close at the touch line, both wing back, and create more space for the two midfield to come and receive the ball. And of course the three up front, basically we can players who can running behind the defense and come in between the pocket. So that is how he want the team to play, the style of playing. And on certain occasion, of course, we have to change, instead of playing on the ground, and sometimes we have to play, we have to switch play in terms of giving the ball diagonal to the opposite side. So again, I can see that he want to, in attacking wise, he want to make sure as many chances we create in the box in the opponent half. So I think the last two games we have shown that.
And you talk about that style of play. We had this other question from Ong Eling Areen. I think maybe Joe can get you in on this one as well. She asked, what do you think is the philosophy of the head coach, and is it working? And do we overall maybe have a philosophy that we are working towards? Like Pep has his, and Klopp obviously has his, and Barca have their culture.
What Tatsuma wants and what I want is very much aligned, and that's fantastic for Singapore football, that we can build it up from grassroots all the way up. And the philosophy of it all is to be in control of the ball, because if you have the ball, you end up being able to dictate terms to the opposition. So if we have the ball and we can play, and we need to be, like Nazri said, we have to have good technical players to be able to make this game plan work. So the philosophy is to be in control of the game, which means we have to keep possession. So if we can teach that through all our national teams going forward, it's going to help in the future of our footballing style to go forward. So, we have a philosophy, and it's about having a high tempo, possession-based game. And it's funny that, some people didn't believe in it. They thought that maybe our footballers can't achieve this, but they can achieve this, and that was proven over the first two games. So, we need to make it better still, and I think that Tatsuma's still at the early stages of putting it in place in the senior national team, but also throughout all the national youth teams. I like to think that the Singapore fans will come out there and support the AFC and the 16s, and of course the 19s, and the SEA Games with Fundir, and they'll see that same brand of football. So what's Singapore's identity? We don't want to be chopping and changing. We want it all to be aligned, and I think that's what we're doing. We're all starting to play that same way, and you saw in the national team they were playing out, they were confident. I think you'll see the 16s attempting to do the same thing, not at that high standard, but we'll attempt to do it. And of course, Fadzul's team, the under-18s and Fundir's, they're all going to be playing the same way. So that's us now making this one philosophy of Singapore football, go towards that same direction, which is what we want.
We've got a couple of questions about the SPL now. This is a question we've heard many years. Nazri, this is from Harish Rai. Is a promotion and relegation system feasible in the SPL? This debate has been going on for years. Nazri, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think the ecosystem is big enough for promotion relegation?
Yeah, I mean it's tough. You can see it's difficult. Because if you look at it, the NFL, if you're talking about the NFL Division 1, Division 2, they are all basically all amateur players. They are not professional, they are not full-time players. Whereas, of course, the SPL is all full-time. How you want to do that? Because I can see this, the standard of the NFL compared to the SPL is totally different. Quite a lot, especially when it comes to fitness. They are. I mean, you can say technical. I mean, they are more technical players. They are very good with the ball, but whether they can last the game is another thing, Because sometimes they just play for the first 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and then after they walk the last 10 minutes. The second half also the same thing. They start with 20 minutes, after that they just walk. So that is where I see it to be different. If you ask me this, again, as I said, we don't really have enough players, to have this relegation and promotion. It's not that we totally I mean, sometimes when we look at it, of course the SPL team, some of the teams just they know there's no relegation, so just play and just make sure just every month they got their salary and next year they're still there. This kind of thing. It's so bad. But then again, as I said, if we can create something that I mean, that is not my position to say. I mean, if somebody can do that, to have this relegation promotion, it'd be good, so that everybody know that, especially the SPL team know that if I don't do well next year, I'll be going to NFL, and NFL football is like this, So it's also good and it's so bad, but it depends on how we want to make this happen.
Yeah, I think we have time maybe for a couple last questions. We've got one now from Wong Chia Wei. What do you think of secondary school football? Have you guys gone out and watched a lot of that? What about the standards about B Division football and ISFC, which is the futsal?
I've seen a few school games. Again, for me, it's about seeing the right style of play, and we don't get to see that all the time in school. We see some really good individual players, in school football, and that usually makes a difference. But what we'd really want is to have a high standard of competition where everyone's challenged to become better. And at the moment, it's a bit imbalanced, I'd say. It's not exactly the standard that we want to see. I know that everyone tries hard and the coaches try hard and the players try hard, but we just need to find a better system of play where we challenge each other at a very high level. And again, we have some really good players who stand out, but we need it to be a bit more than that. So the schools league is again something that we're looking at with the MOE, and we've had discussions about changing a few things there. So hopefully next year's league's going to be a bit better than this year's league. So we'll see how that goes.
And do you think a big part of it is to get them to play more games at school level?
It all depends how we want to see things. How long does a school season last for, and how long does a COE season last for example? And what's the pathway of a player going through? And this is the most important part. What pathway are we giving for these young players to develop and get better? So it's not just about one competition, it's about the whole competition. So our 12-year-olds, our 13-year-olds, our 14-year-olds, our 15-year-olds, where are they playing? When we become 16, where are we going to play? When the under-18 season finishes, where are they going to play? And is there something for them is there a league for them to develop and take part in? And we have to have leagues for everyone who wants to play football. And at the moment, we probably haven't got that. And I think that's a bigger picture that we have to look at.
I think the other thing as well that was discussed is maybe the coaching education as well, to make sure that we've got the right coaches at that level, the B division, the C division in primary schools.
And we're working very hard. Yeah, sorry, Ravi, but we're working very hard with coach education, and Coach Zay's come in now, and we just finished off our grassroots educators course where we're developing our own coach educators for grassroots, and we've got our C licence that just started on the weekend, and our B licence is nearly finished next weekend. So we've put all these platforms in place to make our coaches better, and that's probably the most crucial part of it. how are we going to teach our young players to get better? We need to have really good coaches who understand what it takes. And that's what we're trying to put in place and are putting in place at the moment.
You're talking about putting in place. I'm going to put you all on the spot now. Last question. All right. We play Saudi away. We play Uzbekistan at home. We got off to a very good start. And obviously, I think we must remember as well, these World Cup qualifiers are not just World Cup qualifiers. They're Asian Cup qualifiers as well. What do you think we can achieve realistically, Coach Nazri?
I mean, coming back to what I said earlier, you know, as what we take a game, one a game at a time. When we play against Yemen, nobody expect us to get the result. I mean, 2-2, and then of course, when we play against Palestine, we got a win. So now, I mean, we don't say that we want to think that, you know, we be top of the league, this kind of thing, you know, we be champion of the group. No, we have to know that, you know, when we play against team that who don't really think about us, like don't worry about us. So when we play against them, wow, this one it's not easy. So now, like next 2 games, Saudi basically they will do their own work to make sure that okay, because last game they drew against Yemen, you know, and then they want to get a 3-point for us. So they really have to, so this is how our players have to be prepared that it won't be an easy game, especially when you get in Saudi. Because for us, is getting a point is a very, very good result. Even we don't get a point, but we still got a game against Uzbek that is our last home game that we're going to play. I mean, not our last home game. Of course, our last game is our Saudi, but this is a game that we need to collect the 3 points to keep our momentum. And of course, we have to go Yemen again. Of course, Yemen won't be their home ground, but again, the traveling will be hectic. But again, we have to believe, we have to trust ourselves that we can do it. With a group of players, or there were more 1 or 2 players, or inclusion of some other players during this October campaign or November campaign, the new players. So with these things happening, I think that shows that we want everybody got a chance, and I believe that we trust, we believe our concept, the way we play, we have the commitment, we have the fighting spirit. I think we can get a very good result. It's all about about them, how they think for themselves.
Joe, do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, look, there's obviously Naz is right in the thick of things over there. I think in football you need luck to be able to get to that next stage and to that next level. And when you have a competition like this, you want that piece of luck. But we're going to go away to some hostile crowds, and it's going to be very difficult to get results. But Uzbekistan drew with or lost to Palestine, and Yemen drew, I think, with Saudi, wasn't it?
Yes.
So therefore, when you weigh things up and you say, well, why can't we get a result away from home, and why can't we beat them at home? So, I always believe in setting the bar high and believing in yourself. And if we get the next couple of results and everyone's chasing Singapore doesn't feel the pressure that Saudi might feel or Yemen might feel. So football's a funny game. You don't always have to have the biggest reputation to win games. You just have to be a football team that's committed, believe in each other, and keep going forward. And we've got momentum at the moment. So it'll be interesting over the next couple of weeks, or next couple of games, how we go. But if we get the results that we can get, then everyone's chasing Singapore at the top of the table, and that's going to be an interesting 2020 coming up after that.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. We'd love to talk to you more, but I think we've run out of time here. Thank you as well to the fans for all your questions. A big thank you as well to Facebook Singapore for letting us use their wonderful studio. Don't forget, lots of football coming up. The Under-16s play this week at Jalan Besar. Come down, support them. On the 15th of October, we do play Uzbekistan at the National Stadium. We'd love to see that full. But for now, that's all. This has been Off the Bar.